In Chapter 14, it discusses intellectual property, trademarks, patents, trade secrets, and copyrights. Some definitions for the terms I just listed for intellectual property. It's described as laws that protect property that are primarily the result of mental creativity rather than physical effort. They are categorized into three groups. They are trademarks, patents, and trade secrets. The next term are trademarks, and those are described as distinctive marks, words, designs, pictures, or any combination of those things arranged by the producer. In order for your trademark to be considered legitimate, it must be registered with the U.S. Patent Office. And to register, you must submit a drawing of your mark. Then you must indicate when it was first used in the interstate commerce and how it was used. The same protection rights go for trade dress. Moving on to patents, it grants the holder exclusive rights to produce, sell, and use a product, process, invention, machine, or asexually reproduced plant for 20 years. This object must be novel, useful, or non-obvious. And fun fact is a common, most common illegally patent-related activity could be associated with tying arrangements or cross-licensing. Moving on to trade secrets, they're defined as a process, product, method of operation, or compilation of information used in a business, known or unknown to the public. Moving further into the chapter, it talked about copyrights. It's described as an exclusive legal right to reproduce, publish, and sell the fixed form of an expression of an original creative idea. It has certain criteria that it needs to meet. This criteria is summarized into a fixed form, an original form, and a creative form. How this chapter relates, I picked trademarks to focus on. We still use trademarks to this day because they protect our brand names and logos that we see in everyday life, such as Nike, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and it protects them from stealing pretty much their logo because we correlate seeing these images with the company name, and that's basically what a trademark does. It makes sure nobody can take it and counterfeit it and make it their own. Moving on to chapter 15, this chapter touched on different types of agency relationships, as well as their duties and the creation of these relationships. A brief definition of an agency is a fiduciary relationship between two persons in which one, the agent, acts on behalf of and is subject to the control of the other, also known as the principal. Here are a few examples of types of relationships you see in everyday life. You have the principal-agent relationship, the employee-employer relationship, and then you have your employer and independent contractor relationship. Moving on to the creation of these relationships. It's expressed as an agency, imply your authority. Then you have the ratification of the agent's previous acts by the principal, and then you have your apparent agency. Moving on into the principal and agent's duties. To list a few of the principal's duties, they're summarized into cooperation, providing safe workspaces and conditions, reimbursements and indemnifications, and then compensation. And then to list a few of the agent's duties, it's performance, notification, loyalty, obedience, and accountability. This chapter also touched on the principal and agent's liability to third parties. And to wrap up this chapter, it relates to everyday life. I chose a real life example by the principal and agent relationship. It would be like hiring a contractor to do repairs on your house. So